Well, good morning or afternoon to everyone. Appreciate everybody coming out and celebrating a really good football game on Thursday. We have a ton of respect for Coach Schiano and Rutgers, and they have got a really good program. And I know it's going to be an exceptional football game between a Big 12 team and a Big 10 team. I think it's the only one in bowl season where we have our two conferences going against each other. I'm excited to bring 6 captains with us today. You'll enjoy talking to these guys. Some have been here for 6 years, the whole time with me, and one's a young player in Avery that's been here just 2 years. But those guys have been phenomenal as far as leading our group from the front, leading our team from the front, and I know that I speak for myself, Avery. I know that Stuff is here with. Out of here with a big win. So, but excited for the opportunity. Merry Christmas to everyone, and we'll get a chance to be with our families a little bit. Then it's go time come the 26th.
Great, thank you, Coach. We'll go ahead and open the floor now, so you are able to go out and talk to the players individually. If you would like to speak with Coach a little bit further, please come on up to the table. Thank you.
First in line.
Yeah, there you go.
How you doing, Coach?
Good.
What do you like about this weather? Is this?
It's pretty. No, it's really nice. We've had really good weather back in Manhattan, and coming here it's probably 20 degrees warmer. But no, I know the guys are loving the sunshine.
Also, the football question, Coach. The backfield without DJ Gibbons. What do you expect from the guy?
I'm excited to watch Dylan Edwards. I'm excited to watch Joe Jackson. Obviously, you throw Avery in that mix. We have some playmakers back there, and one of the things that I've kind of challenged the offensive staff with is try to utilize all those guys because they all can be productive. They all can make plays, and so in this brief prep we've had with all the other things we have going on, I like some of the things that we have going.
With some of the receivers kind of not playing, like Keegan and Chase Bowers.
Yeah.
Do you expect some of those to be probably benched?
Yeah, but we still have, Jace is going to be the focal point. Jace is a terrific football player for us. We still have Seif and we have J-Jack that are no different than these seniors. We got to have those guys going out with a win, and Ty Bowman. I mean, those are going to be our top 4, and then whether it's Sterling, whether it's Queese, I mean, we'll play some other guys there as well. Dylan will be a little bit all over the place as well. So we have, even though we lost a couple of guys that you've mentioned, we have a lot of guys that can make plays. And so I'm excited to see who's going to rise up, because there are going to be a lot of people are going to get an opportunity.
How much are you able to kind of have just a little bit of a respite from the craziness of the not on the field college football stuff while you're down?
There's not much. Been on the phone already quite a bit yesterday and today with all the other stuff. So there isn't a rest. Other than kids not being on campus, there is no break. And there will not be a break with the exception of we'll make sure there is one throughout the day on the 26th. But there's still a lot of work to be done. You're trying to juggle sending out these seniors the right way and continuing to build your roster for 2025. And we've talked about it. It's got to change, but that's what everybody in the country is doing right now.
Speaking of building that roster, they changed the rules on you again a little bit
Yeah.
earlier this week. Do you know if any of the guys with JUCO backgrounds like Russo or Justice?
Yeah, I'll let those guys kind of announce what they're going to do. We have visited with a couple of guys, and you talk about it. I think it happened when we were in the air. I knew there was a chance that it could happen, and some of those guys have asked us, and then it kind of happened when we were in the air. And I've had a couple of opportunities to visit with those guys, but I'll let those guys handle that.
How important can a win be to get momentum in the next year?
Yeah, it's always big. It's been that way. When we won at the Texas Bowl to win it at Pop-Tarts Bowl, it's really important on two ends of it. One, to send these seniors out the right way, as well as there's a lot of guys that are going to play in this game that have played a ton of football for us, and then there's some other guys that are going to play in this game that haven't had the opportunity that we need to kind of see how much they've progressed, how much better are they going to be in another 8 months when we get this thing kicked off again. But no, leading into your winter conditioning and your spring ball, you know, and we've got the longest break we're going to have, being that we're going to be home for 3, almost 4 weeks after this game. So it's really important for us to get a win.
Knock on wood, because there's still time left with the portal before it closes. How proud of you are you of the coaching staff being able to hang on to the guys?
Yeah.
throughout?
Yeah, no, the core of our team is still here and going to be here. I know we lost a couple players, but the core of our guys, the guys that were our best playmakers, the guys that we were counting on, as well as I'm a firm believer, you're going to get and keep the guys you should keep, and that's what I'm so excited about is, you know, you got that kid over there, and when Avery had, you know, I'm sure people contacted him. I don't know which, I'm pretty sure people did because they contact every quarterback in the country. When that kid says he's staying, everybody kind of rallies around him, and that's why I'm so excited for him finishing up his sophomore year. Everybody thinks he's been playing here for a long time. He's been here for 2 years and has had 13 starts. His best football is in front of him, and I'm excited for us on Thursday and for us in the future.
How much growth can a guy like that even make in bowl practice?
A ton. I mean, you know, the fact that you know he's working with Jace a lot. He's working with Dylan a lot. He's working with Joe. He's working with all those tight ends. I mean, we have really good tight ends with tons of production, and they're all coming back. And so I think you know, these 9 or 10 practices that he's had, you know, continuing to build, you know, chemistry with those guys is important. Having your center back in Sam Hecht, I think Sam's had an all-conference year, and having him back, I think there's a lot of really good pieces there, and you know, we'll fill in some other spots, but you know, the core of that offense is I'm excited about coming back.
Go ahead. Sorry, Ross.
It feels like we're ushering out now the current era of like the walk-on. This is like the last game for like the true walk-on
Yeah.
of college football. Is it kind of sad to see that go?
It's sad to see that go, but you know, I still think there's a place for it, and I know we're cutting numbers down from whatever 125 for us to 105. There's a lot of walk-ons that are in that 105 for us, and we'll earn some aid or some scholarship or rev share money, whatever it is. I don't think it's just the walk-ons that are going to be. I mean, I'd recruit Brendan Mott all over again. I'd recruit Austin Moore all over again. I'd recruit Ty Bowman all over again. I'd recruit Chris Tennant, that was a walk-on, all over again. I mean, the list goes on and on of those guys. And, you know, we're still trying to find the right pieces for K-State, but I know that the numbers of guys is going to go down, and I'm hoping it doesn't, you know, totally disrupt all the great walk-on success that they've had here for decades under coach and then myself, and we had the same thing at North Dakota State. I mean, there's so many kids playing in the NFL from North Dakota State that walked on for us up there. Absolutely, absolutely. That's a proud dad moment that Ron and I are gonna get down there for sure on that Monday night. And you know, when you're the head coach's kid and you're the student assistant, like he was for us, or a GA, and we win the Big 12 championship, it's one thing. I remember in 2011, I was the defensive back coach, getting my first chance to win a national championship on that stage, and now that's my son. And no, that's a pretty cool moment. He's a heck of a lot younger than me for having a chance to win a national championship. Shoot, I was in my 40s. The kid's in his 20s, so he's progressed pretty well. But no, I'm excited. It's going to be a really good battle, and I know so many people on both sides of it because Brent Vegan's a close friend of mine. He was the OC when I was the DC at NDSU. Tim was my OC. I know the AD at Montana State is a really good friend of mine, Leon Costello. I know the AD at North Dakota State, Matt Larson, really good friend of mine. It's going to be a great football game.
You're a big baseball guy. Are you excited to coach in a
Absolutely. I almost did it when I was up at NDSU because we had planned for it to do it at the Target Center to open up the 19 season and did stuff all through 17 and 18 and then didn't get a chance to do that. So I'm really excited. I've seen pictures. I know our guys are going to go and have a walk through there tomorrow. So that we can kind of get over that off factor a little bit and see what that layout and that looks like. But no, I think it'll be really neat. I think it just adds to the great intrigue with this game.
What do you think of the playoff, the way it's laid out this year with 12 teams?
It's good. It's going to keep going up. I think it needs to get to 16, and we eliminate buys. And I know there's talk about who should be seeded and all that stuff. Get it to 16. Don't let people have buys. Make people play games. That's what people want to see. And then you're going to get a true champion. I mean, it's be interesting to see if the teams that have buys make it to the finals or not. In FCS, it probably happens almost 100% of the time, and so I think that's the one thing. Let's make everybody play the same amount of games.
Do you think the buy? Do you think the buy kind of is a disadvantage for some teams?
No, I've been there before. No, it's a huge advantage, and I'm excited for Kenny. And I got a bunch of friends on Arizona State staff as well. So I've got a bunch of friends there that I'm excited for those guys, and I know the bye is probably helping them.
What are your impressions of the Rutgers offense? And obviously, Coach Shannon now supporting that Kyle Miller is not going to play.
He's the starting running back. Yeah, I think he's a great player. I know numbers more than I do names. That's not a disrespect to him. I just know numbers a lot better. They're an offense that kind of mimics ours. They want to punch you in the mouth, and they want to run the football down your throat and then utilize play action and utilize the shot game and utilize some RPO. I'm really impressed with the quarterback. I take a game like Illinois that played a single high defense, and he had to run the ball for them to be successful, and he did a really good job. And then they've got some good size on the outside. I know the young kid that's going to play running back for him is a really good football player. And maybe that's kind of the showcase this game is which of the quote backup or next running backs is going to have a breakout game, because I know that they've got good players, and I think we've got good players. Yep.
Is it an advantage to play a similar team defensively?
If you can match up, if you physically can match up, that none of us know, how we can. I think we both feel we can. But, it's going to be who can get somebody in 3rd and 8 and not 3rd and 2, because, the Rutgers offense in 3rd and short is going to be really hard to defend. And just like I think our offense is hard to defend if it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 the whole game. Neither offense wants to be in 3rd and 8 plus. And that's a simple thing to say and an obvious thing, but it's really important. And so, those early downs will determine an awful lot on what happens on 3rd down. You're good.
Coaching in the Midwest for most of your career, I don't know how much you've thought about or know about Rutgers, but just what's your general impression of Rutgers?
Well, it's a great program, and Coach Shiano's done a phenomenal job in his couple of stays there. I mean, a great job. He's put them on the map. In my time of being a college football coach, you think of Rutgers, and I think of Greg Schiano. Now, some of the guys that are with us would think of Ray Rice, because I guess he torched him a while ago, like one of the guys behind you. But I think of a well-coached, physical, disciplined team, and no, I think it's a great challenge, and I think it's fun. I think somebody told me this. If not, our media relations people aren't very good, that we're the only Big 10, Big 12 matchup, which I think is really unique and a lot of fun.
You were here for the 2006 Texas Bowl, Rutgers-Kansas State matchup. I imagine that hasn't been talked about much.
It has. We have some people that never leave here, so some of those people have talked about that a lot, and I don't want them to leave here. They're great people and become really good friends of mine. But I've heard about that game, and I know our video coordinator has all sorts of film on that, because he's one of the guys that's been here a long time. But I love Eilert. He's been great for us.
Generally speaking, because I don't think you can get specific yet, but how do you feel like you've done it?
Good. We've answered some questions of easy graduation losses. We're still actively looking at some positions, but it's a little bit of a break as far as people coming on campus. that'll amp back up here after the first of the year. And, you know, the small advantage for K-State would be we don't start school till late in January, and I think that does help. There's some schools that are starting the 6th and 7th of January. Maybe you can still get a kid in on the 9th or 10th or even 11th. We don't start school till after MLK, so I think it's the 21st, 22nd. That's an advantage for us that we can bring guys in for a couple weekends.
Time of the bowl game help too? Can I get it done?
On the 26th, or you're saying the fact that we're not playing at night for the first time in a long time? That's how I look at that, is we're not playing a 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock game. No, I don't know if that, as long as it was not going to be before the dead period, the 21st, 22nd, and it wasn't January 2nd, January 3rd. When we played the Texas Bowl, that was in January. That would have been a hard deal for us. So just fitting it in anywhere between Christmas and New Year allows us to kind of maybe get a day as a coach to spend with your families and then ready to go again with more kids on campus.
How do you emphasize not neglecting the high school recruits as well during this crunch?
Well, I think we're probably one of the best programs in the country that doesn't do that. We signed 23 high school kids, and that's always going to be. Thanks, appreciate it. Always going to be the most important thing for us at K-State. We have to be a developmental program, and I'm proud of the fact that we signed 23 high school kids, and a number of those kids are going to be mid-year enrollees and stuff. It has to be that way for us. We can't flip the script. I know that the transfer portal is here to stay, and we're always going to fill some needs just like everybody else, but for us, we're going to predominantly build this thing the right way through the high schools.
Thank you.
You bet.
Coach, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm Cody Cameron.
Hi, Cody.
12
Okay.
almost positive you're the defense coordinator at North Dakota State, and my high school teammates played the long snapper for you guys named Michael Murphy. Does that name ring a bell?
I remember Murph.
Awesome,
Yeah.
man. He's a great guy. Kind of wanted to probably been asked,
You bet. Thank you.
you've probably been asked this a couple of times, but I just heard your last answer about high school football.
Yep.
You know, the era of the transfer portal and
Yep.
all this other stuff, right? Do you think that mentality came from your time in FCS football where that was it, right? That was your bloodline for so many years. And yes, at K-State as well too, but
Yeah.
it's different times. Why is that still so important?
It's because how I was brought up, and when I played in college, we had a lot of high school kids and a handful of junior college kids. There weren't any of the transfer at that time. And then I went to North Dakota State, and I saw from 2011 until I left at the end of the 18 season there for 8 years, it was almost all high school kids, maybe a junior college kid, maybe a transfer, but one or two. And I can see how I know how to build that the right way for sustainability for the long haul. I don't want to find a good team. I want to find a great program, and programs can last the ups and downs and maybe avoid the 10-2, 9-3. All of a sudden you're 3-9 because you missed out on 20 transfers, and I've seen that happen. Saw it happen this year, and I don't want that to ever happen to K-State because that's my job is to keep building this thing so that whenever I leave this place, not looking to leave, but whenever I do, there's a lot of people in that program that are there for each other, not for a coach or not for a paycheck.
I was talking to Kenny Dillingham at ASU staff a couple days ago about the signing day moving up so much.
Yeah.
It was like a couple days after a lot of you guys last played.
Yeah.
And he said Cody was chaotic.
Yeah.
Coach Thompson wasn't. He's lying. How was that for you guys and your staff?
Well, it was worse for Kenny because they played that weekend. You know, I mean, I agree. I mean, for Kenny, that really wasn't good because you're trying to. Kenny's probably the one helping sign all these guys, and everybody else was preparing for a Big 12 championship game. That's where it doesn't fit. But in the same respect, I'm glad it was moved up now as opposed to doing it December 18th when you were going to still try to bring in a bunch of transfers. That just flat out doesn't work. And so for us, we were able to get all the kids we wanted to get on December, whatever that was, the 3rd or something, and all those kids had been committed to us for maybe 5 months. We ended up flipping 2 kids or 3 kids maybe late, and then we kind of held off another school that was trying to poach one of our guys. So I thought it was good. I still want it bumped up earlier. Too many guys and it didn't happen to us. But too many guys flipped the last 3 days across the landscape of college football. And if it were a coaching change, I get it. But if you've been committed to somebody for 6 months, 5 months, how in 48 hours are you just going to flip and go to another school? That doesn't make any sense to me other than getting bad information or advice from somebody. So I still wish they'd bump it up. I know that it's not a popular decision to do it at the end of the summer. I think it'd be great for those kids not to have to worry about it going into their high school season. I think it's a bunch of BS when people say, well, the kid's going to opt out of his high school season. I'm not going to take him, and neither would a lot of the coaches that I'm close with if they opted out their senior year. I'd say, see ya. That means you're going to opt out on me at some point. So I wish they would get it done. I don't know where that window would be. 1st of July would be the great window and not the 1st of August, so that we can enjoy a little bit of July, so that those kids can sign and get with their high school, and then coaches don't have to worry about babysitting kids all fall. You bet. Thanks. How are you doing?
Good, yourself.
Good.
I'm excited to have a winter not in Kansas.
Yeah, I don't know if you're spending the whole winter down here.
No, I'm actually going to South Florida after.
Oh, okay, even better.
Obviously, I know we talked a lot about Avery using his legs
Yep.
and to just the topic of the season.
Yeah,
Avery mentioned that I think middle of the year he sort of started to use his legs a little bit more.
yeah.
Did you sort of realize that he sort of maybe got a little bit more comfortable in the offense and realized that he can use his legs?
Yeah, he probably won't admit it, but there was about 4 weeks, maybe 5, but for sure 4 that he probably couldn't. After that Colorado game, we just couldn't call design runs for him for maybe a month, and I think that's a big factor for what he does really well, and it made him become maybe even a better or more comfortable pocket guy, and realize some of the things that he needs to continue to work on in the offseason so that he can be more and more comfortable in the pocket, stepping up. But no, when he's clicking on all cylinders with his health, and I know that it's going to be important for him to put on 10 to 15 pounds this offseason as well. He's really dangerous and really hard to defend.
How much does it change for a quarterback when the second offseason he's not learning how to be
Yeah.
a starter as well, but he's already the established starter?
Yeah.
He can just focus on improving his game and what he can do.
Yeah, I think it helps from a leadership standpoint as much as it does anything he does on the field. I know that he was kind of already anointed the starter by the media, by myself, whatever, as he went into all last season, but he played in one game. Now the fact that he's got 13 games under his belt from this year after Thursday, he can lead better and know what he needs from the guys in the offseason, whether it's throwing on a certain day to getting together and watching film with guys and being able to explain the offense to a new kid that's coming in. I think that comfort level is going to be a lot better. Plus, it's just easier to lead as an upperclassman than it is as a sophomore. I think he's done a phenomenal job of leading as a sophomore, but all of a sudden you put that junior tag on yourself and you're an upperclassman. Makes it look like you've been around for a little bit longer. I think he'll feel a lot more comfortable leading.
You mentioned that he's the only team captain that isn't a senior, a fifth-year senior
Yeah.
guy. What about his leadership sort of led him to that?
I think these other guys around the room have helped him a bunch. And I look at Austin Moore, who has really challenged Avery in a positive way of how he can be an effective leader, because you're one of the best players on the team. You automatically have a little bit of that respect from everybody. But then it's what you do with the fact that you're one of the best players. He still is one of the hardest workers in the weight room. He's one of the best ones in community service we have. He's one of the best ones in the classroom. And when you walk the walk with all those things on the field, off the field, classroom, community service, and you're bringing other guys with you, all those guys start to follow even a little bit more.
Where has Avery grown the most on the field from, I guess, the first take?
I think reading defenses pre-snap. I know it's something that he wants to continue to. And you're always improving as a quarterback of reading things pre to post snap. You always are. But the amount of pictures that he's been able to see, because everybody is trying to take away something specific that we do, whether it's Jace Brown, whether it's DJ or Dylan, whether it's himself. what do those pictures look like? Because there's a lot of copycat in college football. We all do it. Of, this is how you stop Avery. Or slow down Avery. This is how you slow down DJ. This is how we slowed down a receiver or something. He's seeing some of those pictures, and those pictures are starting to be embedded into his mind of, okay, I got to go to this now. And that's something that I think he'll grow as much over this offseason and next year is maybe some of the plays and some of the schemes that weren't successful, he knows why now, and he'll be able to get us into a different play. You bet. Yeah, I know better. I know more. Okay, defensively, really physical at the point of attack. They really count on their corners being able to shut down the outside guys because they're long, physical, and say, we're going to commit us 8 or 9 guys based on the formation to say you're not running the football at us. That's why our quarterback run game has to be a factor. I don't want to run the kid 25 times, but we've got to run him some to open some things up. We've got to move people around on offense so that it's not a stagnant look, because if it's a stagnant look, they're physical, they're well coached, and they're going to know what the heck to do within this framework of their defense. So us motion and shift and trading will be a big deal. On offense, and I just learned the tailback wasn't going to play, but I know the young kid is a really good player. They're not going to change in my mind of what they do and what they do successfully, which is some of their wide zone, wide stretch, some of their misdirection on the split zone. They're still going to want to run the football and say, you got to keep packing these guys in and bring more people to the party, because they're really physical up front on the offensive line. And they're bigger than our defensive line. So for us, we're going to have to move a little bit, I think, because we can't just stand stagnant there. I think we'll get gobbled up with their size advantage. And then we have to be able to win outside. And it's going to be a big challenge for Keenan Garber, for Zayshawn, for Justice James, for Donnie Mack. It's going to be a challenge for those guys, because we can't sit and double those guys the whole time, because I don't know if we'll hold up in the run. We're going to have to commit some safeties in there because they want to run the football at you. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think so. Especially when you watch the crossover games, and it's no different. I mean, those teams, as they play each other more, start to learn what each other's strengths and weaknesses are. And I couldn't tell you who Rutgers played in 23, 22, 21. I don't go that far in advance to say, man, they had a really good plan, where you can watch us play Oklahoma State and you'd say, okay, I know how they're going to attack us this year, and boy, did we answer that, and we were able to attack them. I mean, we just know each other so well. There's so many teams in the Big Ten. I don't know how that schedule breaks down all the time, but physicality, discipline do not beat themselves when you see the Big Ten in a lot of those teams that play similar to style Rutgers. Yeah, he is. He's been huge, and Nate Katzer remembered him when he was with the Bucks, because I think maybe Nate went with a staff that replaced them at Tampa Bay, and the organization talked about discipline, talked about physicality, talked about just how to do things the right way, and he took that back to Rutgers after he established it at Rutgers. And there's certain guys that win at different places for a reason, and I think he's made for Rutgers. I really do. And I'm not as familiar with everything out there on the East Coast, but he means a ton to that program, and you can tell those guys play their tails off for him. Well, it was, I think we had 9 or 10 days of true practice where we were able to go young kids against young kids and get some good work there. The most we've done in the 5-6 years I've been here. That's the most work we've been able to do with maybe not an hour of it, but 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there each day. So we got a good evaluation out of a lot of young guys that are continuing to move forward. It was great because we had a great weather week when we were outside on the grass fields. That was awesome to be able to 60 degrees and out practicing and moving around. And then obviously having our indoor was huge when some of those days where it wasn't as nice. But we were able to get a mix of getting game plans in for this game as well as continue to that development phase we talked about with our young guys. All right, Fitz.
You guys had a lot of bounce back wins this year. Every time you lost, you came back with a win outside of what happened with ASU Houston.
Yep.
So what do you think contributed to you guys getting those wins?
Yeah, I think it's our senior leadership. I think it's guys doing a great job of being able to reset and refocus when something happens negative to you. And we always have kind of the motto of don't let the same team beat you twice, where you can't think of the mistakes you made. You've got to correct those mistakes, but you've got to reset yourself and say, man, this is a new week. And we talk a lot about 1 week seasons, and we have 12 of them. Now we're on the 13th 1 week season, and you can't get caught up on a win of, boy, we've arrived or we've made it or this is why we've been successful. Okay, you remember those things, but when you have a loss, sometimes we let those things linger too long. And I think this group, with a bunch of seniors, have done a really good job of kind of reset, refocus, and challenging guys. Yep.
Avery Johnson was certainly a pretty big part this year.
Yeah, huge part for us.
As a sophomore, what does it say about his leadership and his ability of how he's grown just as a sophomore?
Yeah. He's a very confident kid, but he's not a cocky guy. He's just got a swagger and an air to him that's really confident, but doesn't come across as arrogant. And I've just seen him grow so much, and he's a sponge. He wants to get better. He knows he hasn't arrived. He knows he's got to continue to work his skill set of moving in the pocket, throwing the football, what he sees pre-snap to post-snap. But just the fact that he's gotten now 13 games underneath his belt is going to help us on Thursday, and I think it's big time is going to help us in the future. When you have your starting quarterback back that has had the ability and made plays that are like kind of jaw-dropping of, wow, this kid can beat you with his legs and beat you with his arm. You bet. Thanks. How you doing?
Schematically, what do you see out of Rutgers that you just go, okay, we got to stop that?
They just want to run the football and run it right at you, and then utilize that to say you guys better keep bringing guys more and more to the party
5 minutes,
and,
5 minutes
and be able
remaining.
to stop us. And if you're not, we're going to keep bludgeoning you there, and then we're going to utilize and throw shots because they have really good receivers that are able to throw some shots too, as well as I think the quarterback's a really good athlete that maybe doesn't. They don't design a ton of runs for him, but when they do, he's effective. I watched the Illinois game, and he was really, really effective that game because it's like, hey, we're taking away some other things. Okay, once he used his legs, it opened up a lot of stuff. So offensively, they have, the demeanor of we're going to run it right at you until you can stop it, but we're going to beat you with some big plays over the top. On defense, I think they've got exceptional corners that can take away the outside guys and say we're going to make this a between the hash or between the logos game, and we're going to make it a 9-on-9 game in there. And I think they do a really good job of putting the +1 into stopping that run and playing either whether it's too high or one high safety. We have to have that kid have some success rushing the football. I don't want to run him 25 times, but we have to be able to have him be a factor rushing the football so that we can maybe soften up some of that inside stuff.
I'm a local media here,
Yep.
so we do a lot of stuff at ASU.
Good.
Obviously. I mean, the Big 12 this year was very competitive,
Yep.
right down to the last weekend.
Yep.
How did that just toughness of the Big 12 prepare you for this game?
Yeah. Yeah. And for starters, I'm a huge Kenny Dillingham fan. Brian Ward's a good friend of mine. AJ Cooper's a good friend of mine. They're on the staff. I've worked with a couple of them before. The Big 12 is really good, and I kind of laugh. It happened 2 years ago that West Virginia and Neil Brown, who's a good friend of mine, were picked last in the league, and they won 9 games. Arizona State picked last in the league. Nobody knows anything in our league. Nobody knows anything. How maybe some guys improved. Maybe there's some transfer portal guys hit. Maybe at some other schools the transfer portal guys didn't hit because the top of the league was at the bottom on the preseason rankings, and the bottom of the league went to the top. And that's college football right now. And you better have your A game every week, and you better have guys believing in what you're doing. And that's what I saw at Arizona State. They had a bunch of guys believing in what they're doing, and they got hot and played really well. I was really impressed with. Everybody talks about Scadaboo. The quarterback makes them go. The quarterback, he makes them go, and I thought they were one of the best tackling teams on defense we saw this year. A great athlete that somehow it's 3rd and 6, and you think you got him pinned in, and he's going to make 4th and 3, and he finds a way to get 8 yards. He does, and he's got a juice to him. I'm really good friends with the guy that recruited him at Michigan State, so I knew a little bit more about him, and I knew we didn't want this kid out of the pocket. I knew we didn't. I think it hurts him losing the wide out. I don't know if he's out for the year, but if he is, that would really hurt him because I know the other kids played well against Iowa State, but that kid was a great friggin' player. And then, obviously, real impressed with Scadaboo, but I think Levitt's one that's going to make him go. You bet. Appreciate it.
Coach, you talked a lot about your 6th-year guys and just how much they meant to the program. Just to you on a personal level, how much have they meant?
Yeah, I mean, they came in with me. And a kid like Mott, we took out of the state of Iowa where I grew up, and he was an undersized guy, and we gave him an opportunity. A lot of places didn't. Gave him that opportunity. He came and made himself into the best defensive lineman in the Big 12 with being named that. Look at Austin Moore. That, he was a guy that wasn't
1
recruited
minute,
very
1
heavily,
minute remaining.
and came in and established himself as a special teams player. Just put his head down and worked and worked and worked, and became the unquestioned leader of our football team. That's pretty special. And so there's a bunch of those guys like that. Keenan Garber is no different. Did the same thing. It's just Taylor Poitier. He's had the issues that he's had with his knee and coming back. And so they've been with me from the start, and they've had my back from the start.
I want to ask a lot of them about their favorite memory of you. They said when you charge into the locker room after a win. Could you walk me through that?
It's when we win, it's pretty special. You don't ever take those for granted. And there's some celebrating going on. There's some water going on, but we charge in and have a pretty good celebration. And you just can't replace and replicate what you have in a locker room after a win. Hopefully we get one more chance to do it on Thursday.